This week we begin a 3-week sermon series on discipleship. We'll be looking at different themes, different things having to do with discipleship. But for the devotionals, I thought that it might be good for us to just work our way through the book of James. Now, the book of James is kind of unique in the epistles of the New Testament in that it does not have a point that it's trying to make and then prove. That's what Paul does. That's what the book of Hebrews does. Unlike a letter, it doesn't have one specific recipient and one idea that the author is trying to develop. Instead, the book of James is a collection of sermonettes, a collection of ideas, a collection of in essence, short devotionals for the primarily Jewish church. The author identifies himself in the verses 1 and 2 as James, a slave of God. This is most likely the half-brother of Jesus, son of Mary and Joseph, but he doesn't use that position in the title. Instead, he calls himself a servant of the Lord Jesus, addressed to the 12 tribes, the Jewish believers that are scattered abroad. Now, starting in verse 2, dear brothers and sisters, when troubles come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God and he'll give it to you. He'll not rebuke you for asking. But when you ask him, be sure that your faith is in God alone. Don't waver, for a person with divided loyalty is as unsettled as a wave of the sea that's blown and tossed by the wind. Such people should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Their loyalty is divided between God and the world. They're unstable in everything they do. So the first topic that James wants to treat is, what do you do when troubles come? Man, it's like he was writing for 2020, isn't it? Talking about troubles here, trials. He's not so much talking about temptation. He's talking instead about what happens when life throws things your way. What you going to do? How are you going to respond? James says 3 things in order to be able to face the troubles that crop up in our life. First of all, be patient. First of all, we should be joyful, because with trouble comes the opportunity for growth. To grow, you have to let your endurance be fully developed. So step number 1, be patient. Step number 2, seek wisdom. It always helps to have an idea of why something is happening. And although we can look at things and understand the mechanics of what's taking place, what James is encouraging us to do is to look at the spiritual why. What is God trying to develop in me? Ask wisdom of God, and he will gladly give you wisdom. And third, don't waver. Unflinching loyalty. Make sure that your commitment is to continue to follow God in spite of whatever trouble you face. Following God is not an assurance of a life without trouble. Quite the contrary. It may be that because we are following God, we are tested more than we were before. And so, what James says is stay loyal, endure whatever it is that comes your way. Don't be divided. Make sure that you closely follow the Lord. Those three things again. Be patient. Seek wisdom. Stand. Be unflinching in your loyalty to God.